Hello and welcome everybody to this particular different stream. It's more like a podcast. We could take it like this. After the recent bans that we had on Monday, I decided to record this this episode. It's not an episode, but it will clearly more go through an analysis that I want to do with Belcher and the situation. Of course, the meta will be shifting a lot, and we don't have so much information. What we do know is the scam is dismantled, and 4C also got a big hit due to the recent bans that we got. So based on those factors and possible matchups that we could find, my decision was to go back to Pact of Negation in the main deck. So we have again our full plate set of Pact of Negations. I went down one Ironcrag feed because it's not so relevant again to have those multiples draws of Ironcrag feeds. I know it's great. It's the best ritual that we have when we need to just slam the Belcher and activate it, but there are new factors, also new cards. One of the most, let's say, annoying one is the new Merfolk that we have here. It's also played, of course, in Standard, which is the China Hidebender. For those that don't know this card, I'm pretty sure everybody knows it right now. Currently, it's Merfolk with Flash, that when it comes in, basically it counters the activated ability of a card. And while this card is on the battlefield, this permanent lose all abilities. So it's it's really, really, really awful to play against it. And yeah, it's one more hateful card like Boseiju, and it's blue, it's 2 mana, it's 3 mana, of course. Everybody can place it. It's in all of the decks that we have currently in Modern. So of course Rack doesn't play it, but Footballs can play it, Horsey can play it, Murktide, now that Scam is down, is playing it too. I have seen it also in Living End, so yeah, we need to understand that this is a card that we're going to face, and that's it. There's not so much to do. In the Discord, we were discussing different cards to replace, of course, our own Furies, as this was our principal removal spell. And in my decision, it was also a card that we had before. Dead and Gone is really, really good. It kills everything that is X2. And if there's something bigger, then we can play it for Gone, which also have been previously something relevant against Murktide and other creatures that are big. So yeah, I like this card. Personally, I'm a big fan of it for the versatility that it has. Okay, so before I go to the league that I recorded, well, it will be the recordings of MTGO. Also in this configuration, I remain with the Pyromancer Ascension in the main deck. I think it's important to go or to have an answer in case there's a main deck Pithing Needle or Karn, whatever. Even Tasha Hidebender. It's something that we can rely a lot of times in game one, so I think it's good. I'm playing 24 lands, so there was a missing card a flex card that I can use. And this is not the final decision, but I wanted to play another card that can search a Belcher. So reckless handling, our modern gamble that can search an artifact, and if we got lucky, it doesn't get discarded. Is the card that I chose this time to play. We have our Miracle to play Angels with the Pyromancer Ascension, our 13 red land, which is Songmat Treachery, that can give haste, which doesn't come up a lot, but it's better than the other double side lands. And I think the rest of the deck is well known. Offer you can refuse. For Engineered Explosive, I think this is still the best 0 mana spell that we can play because it gets rid of anything. The implications are basically infinite, and that's why I keep on playing this. While we were discussing in the Discord, there was I think it was Matteo, the Manland, also known in MTGO, who said like, why do we need to play ley lines, white ley lines now that Scam is gone? And I took it very literally, and this league I decided to don't play any ley lines. So we went full Force of Vigors because of the amount of let's say Titans. Yeah, Titan is like a matchup where Force of Vigor can shine a lot. And I took full Veil of Summer for counter spell decks, discard, Blood Moon effects, and Hour 3. During my league, I think that I wasn't missing like a lot of times to ley lines, but it feels better to have them. Some of the players were planning to play 4 black ley lines. I personally don't like that. Cascade decks weren't always our best matchups, and I don't think that this will like change a lot. But I can understand if people like to play it. Yakmoth is already a good matchup, so I don't want to use this. And yeah, Living End was always bad. But I can understand that saying that it will delay much more the match, so we can set up in a better way. So it's up to you if you want to do that or not. Okay, so this is a little bit my analysis. Again, the information that we have currently for the meta is basically nothing. We know that Tron is shining. We know that Crashing Footfalls, or Rhinos as we know it, is probably the best deck to play right now. And I think Yakmoth, Murktide is coming again with Living End. Then behind of that we have the Foresee and the Hammer Time, like our big contenders. This is what I see currently in the meta, but of course it will be changing, and until now we don't have like a lot of information. The ban of Fury gave players the ability to play a lot of creature based decks, so we're seeing like much more creatures in the field, which is awesome, of course, because I think this was really necessary. Even though I would love to have Fury. I know it's a really unfair card that had shut down a lot of decks. Okay, so this was the leak that I posted on on Twitter. The matchups that we had was the Black Scam, Sue, Living End, Rakdos Inti, and Tron. So it was a variety of decks that I have to face. I would say that um, two of the matches, the Black Scam and the Living End, are bad matchups. Sue is okay. Rakdos Inti, in my opinion, is pretty favored for us. And Tron is a matter of who wins the dice. And luck. Their matchup was probably one of the most craziest ones. Also, it was the last one, but it was really, really crazy. We will get in and see this matchup afterwards. But let's start with the first one. That is against the Black Scab deck. So let me go here. Let's hope that everything goes fine while I try to reproduce this. Okay. So let's go through the first game. Okay. So we won the die, and I think this was a pretty nice hand where here already I had the decision to go to 6 on the play. In my opinion, this was a pretty good 6 that we could start off. It was an unknown matchup. Mulligan this, I don't think it's necessary, so in this I think this was sufficiently good enough to play that. I think I just started with a tap land and pass. Opponent starts with a swarm, which is already very, very scary. But we drew a desperate ritual, and I didn't want it to take the risk to get discarded. So what I just did it was to cast both rituals and play the Belcher and pass the turn. And this was an instant concede from our opponent. So this was game 1. So we didn't have a lot of information. I think that post board I just bring in the Veil of Summers and maybe some Dead and Gone, but that was all information that we had. This hand wasn't good, so I started to mulligan. A lot of hands weren't good either, but we already were on 5. I know that was a black deck, so it would bring me a lot of trouble to keep on mulligan to find something. We kept this hand, which was pretty bad. I decided to keep 2 lands, the Metamorphose and the Pyromancer Ascension. And then I remember that this was the biggest nightmare. Yeah, we faced a black scam deck, which wasn't expected to see. I know that people are trying to use this, and then we got the double grief. Well, it wasn't undying, but would have been super difficult. But then there comes the persist, and I just conceded because there was no way I would be able. So we saw not dead after all with the grief, and then persist over the second grief. So practically impossible to play against that. Oh, sorry for that. Okay, so now that we know against what we were playing, I decided to bring in all the Veil of Summers and the Dead and Gone to give you a short insight. I can't remember a lot what I took out, but I'm pretty sure that I took out all the Pact of Negations. I probably took out the Reckless Handling too. So these are 6 cards, and the 7th for sure was a land, like probably the red land. And here's one of those moments where I was already missing my white ley lines. Veil of Summer is only good if we have a Turn Timber in our hand, so we need Turn Timber and Veil of Summer in hand. If not, we don't have any protection against discard spells, which is already a problem. So this was my first insight when I was playing the list, and I say first game and first match, and I'm already missing the ley line. So I just wanted to give this short insight to you. So we are here. Okay. So we had this first 7, which in I I don't know. Probably it's not the hand that we want to keep, but it felt good just to have the Veil of Summer and the Turn Timber against this deck that I know it is going to discard me. So I kept this, and this was just Turn Timber on turn 1, bolting myself and see what happens. And there comes the Thoughtseize that I reflected with the thoughts with Veil of Summer, and we drew the Belcher, which was great. Then I just played a land and pass. And here comes the big problem. Where opponent decided to take out my Balaget, which was weird, but of course it took out also my Belcher. And here we had insane draw with Recross the Path, where the biggest fear for me was if there was the possibility that my op plays an Orcish Bowmaster. So I was on 14, they would hit me for 4, the Bowmaster would take me to from 10 to 3, and if I bought myself I would die. So I had here my 3 lands, and as I already had a Seagate here, I knew that it wasn't necessary for me to bolt myself. So I took the decision to keep my line of playing and go for the Belcher, having in mind that I don't need to bolt myself to go for the offer you can't refuse engineered explosive line. So they reveal the Marakia Rebirth, and they just attack. Interesting also here, what I did is I played the Monomorphose in our upkeep to draw an additional card. In this case it wasn't so relevant, but it ensures myself to draw like another additional card, so we got lucky. They didn't have the Orcish Bowmaster, but it wasn't relevant either. And here it's just playing the Rituals, Ironclad Feet, Belcher, and we win. So this was my first match. Thank you for the resubscription, Luca. Thank you always for all the support. Appreciate it a lot. Okay, so this was our first one. Now we're going to play against Sue, which I wasn't expecting it for the first two turns, I think. Won the die the whole league, which was insane. This was an instant keep for me. The real Giganta, so I thought, okay, this maybe can be drawn or somehow like jumped. So I thought it was Stomping Ground. Ragavan, it was a drawn. It was a jumped deck. Uh, Here we went for a pile that gave me the possibility that even if they would, then I saw the Leyline binding, and that was weird. When I saw the Leyline binding here, when they revealed it, I was like, which deck will play that? And I kind of got confused because I don't know all the versions of Zoo, so I was assuming it was like, yeah, some multicolor deck. I think the first card that I put here on top was Monomorphos, just to be sure, or to make sure that I can draw their end step everything in case that they wouldn't attack with the Ragavan. And that's what I did. Think so. Yeah. So they played the Monomorphos. They went for the Ren 6, which was scary because they maybe could have had the Usagi, which they didn't. And the rest is like, yeah, seeing that there was a Glissa, Shardless Agent, General, but nothing that would stop us from winning. We played the Belcher, and we won here. Okay, close this too. Now we go to game 2. I think game 2 was just a bunch of pressure. They started, maybe we went, the send was good. Then we just lost to Mole to that. Well, we found something interesting here at least. I decided to keep this and trust to find something sufficient. That was already an interesting draw because Desperate Ritual was giving us a way to play it really fast. But then comes to Kabu, and then they had already 9 powers, the line, and we need to draw a land here. It was crucial. We played the first one, we draw Strike at Ridge, we played the second one, and we crossed the path. And I decided to create a pile because there wasn't anything we could have played the Magus, but we wouldn't win with that. This would be like just a 1-1, and the Cyan Dragon would be there. So I was like, okay, if they don't have anything, let's say it like that, they will hit me for 9, and I will go down to whatever the number is, 6. But then they cast the Tribal Flames, and that was my death, as I wasn't able to play the Reforge the Soul and bought myself. Game 3. on the play again. Was a really solid hand. Of course, this is a recross on turn 2, which we always love. Yeah, stubborn denial would have been also a card that, but I did see that they had like this bluish, yeah, the bluish, slightly splice for that. So, or at least in the other 2 games that we played against, it wasn't something that I saw. So I went for a recross the path. To be honest, here the easy line would have been just draw 2 cards, which could have been Ironcrag Feet and Belcher. Kind of want to play it around the Ragavan. So we see a Ren and 6, they ping us, which was already weird. I cast the Banamorphose again here to draw another card. And here we had a pile where I was able to put also in a lot of Pact of Negations, because I was worried about Stop Horn Denial, and we went with this pile, which gave us Pact of Negations. And that was our match against Sue. Okay. Our third one was against the big boss, the one and only Menino Ray, the Brazilian living end player. So when I was already paired, I was pretty sure that I was playing against living end, which wasn't nice, but I can't do nothing against it. So this hand was already good for me because I know I was playing against them. The question here is, what do I want to do? If I want to cast the Belcher on turn 2 or whatever, or if I want to like play recross the path on turn 2. We were on the play, so Valakut and pass. They shocked themselves. And here we draw a Pact of Negation, which was great already. So I decided to play the Pyretic. The Strike at Rich. And that's it. I prefer to wait to see if I can just slam the Pyretic Rituals with Belcher as the Belcher with the Pact of Negation. So I played the Belcher with the Pact of Negation. They had the Forest of Negation. Played the land and pass. They cracked the fetch land, and I can imagine that the version that Menino was playing didn't have a main deck Boseiju, and this was an instant concede, which was awesome, of course. There are people that just ask me, like, what do I need to do when I play against Living End? I think there is not a lot that you want to do. You want to slam the Belcher as soon as possible. You want to try to avoid to get bitten by a grief or countered by a Force of Negation. If you have the Pact of Negation as I had, then great. If not, just make them have it. That's the only advice that I can give you for this matchup. But yeah. Game 2. Okay, game 2 was crazy. Again, this is a matchup where I usually like the ley lines, but there weren't any ley lines, so the only thing that I bring in was the 4 Veil of Summer and the Blood Moons. I took out the offer, an offer you can't refuse, the Reckless Settling, the land, and I trimmed the Ironcrag feats to just 1, I think. And we kept the Pyromancer Ascension, we kept the Engineer Explosive to destroy the white ley lines. I know it sounds crazy, but it's super relevant, and that was pretty much the configuration post-board against Living End. Okay, and I'm going to run this because this is still a really long game. This was a nice hand where we kept Veil, and there comes the ley line. They went to 6 and they found it. And they just try to do their thing. They start to cycle, and I just play my lands, trying to build to get to 4, to have the Veil of Summer open. And you can see they already cycled for 4 cards. Now they cycle 5. They went for Grief. I cast the Veil of Summer, and here they casted the Grief, and I played the Veil of Summer to protect it. In my turn, I cast the Recross the Path, hoping that they didn't have the chance to counter it, which, let's see, was Force of Negate. And we pass. They didn't find the land, which was already good for us. And I just, I kept the Veil of Summer and left everything with Valakut Awakening. In their turn, they didn't find another land, and this was just ideal for me. So here, I tried to play Recross the Path with the Veil of Summer open. I was thinking, what do I need to do? I didn't want to draw the Reforge, but I decided to play it. They just passed, and the only thing that was probably an issue is a possible Force of Vigor. I didn't care a lot about the Force of Negations because I had the Veil of Summer, but I did have to go for a Pyromancer Ascension pile in order to win against the Slay Lane. I played the Veil of Summer so that there was no chance that I get countered this Force of Reforged the Soul. So you can see the pile that I did was just a land, 2 Rituals, Pyromancer Ascension, 2 Pacts, Monomorphose, and all the other Monomorphose. And the Bala gets behind of that with the loop of the Pyromancer Ascension. So just to go through Pyromancer Ascension. And in this moment, I think Renino wasn't sure if I was able to. I played a lot of times against him. I think he was just waiting if I had a chance to destroy the Slay Line, or he had forgot what the implications of the Engineer Explosive. So he literally made me go through everything, which is totally fine. I don't regret him doing that because it's still something that protects you from from not dying to the Belcher. So uh, I had the Desperate Ritual spliced a lot of times. I kept on drawing a Balaget plus another one number for us to keep on drawing, splicing. As you can see, I put the Engineer Explosive, I put it for 4. I destroyed the ley line. I kept on drawing, and with this we just draw our Belcher. I went here and cast the moon just to make sure that nothing can happen. Then I activated, and we won. So this was pretty insane. But to be honest, also, if we go and analyze this matchup, you can see that they stuck uh, in drawing a land for I don't know how many turns. Well, it was 5 turns, but they draw 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, let's say 4 cards. Because with this troll they found the Veteran Grave. So a lot of backlog here. A lot of backlog. Okay. And let's go to the 4th matchup, which was the Rakdos Inti player. So Inti is this new creature that when you attack, you draw a card. Um, this was pretty easy. We won the die again. I decided to keep this because this was already on the Muller 5 against Unknown. Here comes the Ragavan. With no hesitate, I just shoot the Ragavan and pass. Then I saw a Ursa Saga and I got it like kind of mad because it was probably something that could. This is Inti. You don't know this. I tried to find the ritual here. I didn't find the ritual, so I just passed. The attack. It didn't discard. Let's click from demo side. And I played the ritual here not to don't take damage, and I didn't play the land in case that this Ursa Saga would found a Biffy Needle. I wanted to get the highest amount of cards in hand. So if I would go for the Engineer Explosive, there would be less risk to discard it. So that's why I didn't play the land my last turn. Okay, and they played a ring, which in our case is not an issue. We just passed, we waited for the upkeep, and kill them in the upkeep. That was the plan. So even if they played the ring here, that wasn't an issue. But again, the idea here was just in case that there would be a main deck Piffinil, we go for Reckless Handling, Engineer Explosive, and just hope to not discard it. That was the plan. Okay, so this was game 1. Game 2. Game 2. Game 2, I didn't know why I kept this hand. Because it looked awful, but I kept. I think it was a misclick maybe, but we drew the land, so we got super lucky. But then, I had to. We need to stop this again. Sorry for that. Opponent in turn 2 thoughtseize me, and they don't discard the turn table. So this was a big mistake in my opinion from my opponent, who could have stopped me from playing my second land. So here I had the opportunity to. They took my mana morphos, so I don't know what was happening there. That case, it may be the opponent never played against Belcher, so that is the highest possibility of everything. I played the Westward Ritual. We went for mana morphos. Drew the Dead and Gone. And to be honest, guys, I can't remember what was the pile that I did. I think I was really tired. I should have gone for the Pyromancer Ascension, but I went for for a Belcher line. So here, interesting. I want to stop this. I went for the Belcher. I put a Belcher on top and another Belcher in my reforged pile. It seemed to me that the opponent didn't have Epiphany Needle, but I knew that my reforged pile was a traditional, let's say, turn 3 pile, and they had already 5 mana with this token, right, with this treasure token. The only card that would prevent me to win my turn is the One Ring. So I took the decision to destroy their tokens, the treasure tokens, in the end of combat phase, so that there wasn't any possibility that they could cast the One Ring. And that's what I did. Thank you, Tobias, for the follow. And yeah, basically they stuck on 3 lands. We don't know what they drew, and we can see that they had casted fire. So playing, we played around something, and it was not only an inti deck; it was like a burning inquiry deck with a lot of stuff. But it's important to play around everything that we can, right? So that was basically my thoughts about this. Opponent was going to play something, we don't know what it was, but they figured out that it was too late. So they had casted fire. Leaving a Belcher on the battlefield wasn't a good option. But it felt like a matchup pretty accessible, in my opinion. And that was what my opponent was playing. I never played against him, I think, so I kept it, and here the question was if I wanted to play the Shutter and bolt myself to cast a Recrutch on turn 2, which which I did actually. So Strike It Rich and that was the best decision that I could take because we were able to play our recrossed path on our turn too. Interesting point to take into account. I was looking into different drone lists, and it seems that the last configuration of the drone decks is, let's see, these ones that are from yesterday basically. They dropped the warping wheel, which is fantastic. It was really some of these uh, parts that are very, very annoying and hurtful also. So, uh, yeah, I just wanted to point that out. Asking here for the list. There you go. So here we just go for additional pile. The only out would have been a Boseiju, a real worm coil. They show the forest, and I was so frightened, but nothing happened. Put the monomorphose in the upkeep, so we draw an additional card, which would have been a pact of negation to protect the Ironcrag feet from what I said, this warping wheel. But the opponent didn't have it, so we just went for Pyretic, Ironcrag feet, and Belcher. Okay. So the vibes already were pretty high to feel the 5-0, but nothing is very easy on MTGO. Sorry for that. We went to game 2, and things started to come out pretty well for what we know is Tron always known for. I started to mulligan hard. We didn't find a really solid hand. Found a move I wanted to find a ritual which didn't happen. And then this happened. A crazy, a crazy 6 mana available. Chalice of the Void 4/3, which never happened in my whole life. I posted also in my Twitter posts. You can see. And it was devastating. Opponent shut down the 2 Magus of the Moon, the Balagat of Recovery that I played tapped, but it was in my hand, and my recross. So it was fantastic for them to cast it on 3. Crazy. Super crazy. But it worked out. And that was already a moment where I felt like kind of tilted because it was like, how can you do this? And then it was everything started to break down for him because, one ring, we found the Belcher, but they go for a tower, and then Ulamog was coming in to destroy any kind of hopes that I had to win this matchup or this match on game 2. So we just conceded 1-1. Before I go there, so for this matchup, for the strong matchup, I don't like to trim all my pact of negations. Usually keep always 2. I think we took out the reckless Storm Ironcrag feats, a land, then I bring in the Magus, the moon effects, and one force of figure. That was pretty everything that I brought in. Okay, game three. Okay, so game three. This hand wasn't good. This hand, uh, hard. We were on the play, so I was like, okay, let's do this. And we start playing because we are on the play, so that's why I decided to keep it. Wasn't ideal, but with the Punk of Negation, I felt like a little bit better about my decision of keeping. Opponent played the Relic, and I was like already okay. Pyromancer Ascension will be hard to play. They played the Museiju, I was like already like really happy. We went for the power plant, and here I wasn't sure how much knowledge our player had against Belcher, and I assume he was like really good because they kept the relics, or maybe that was the only thing that was good in their sideboard. So I went for the Belcher plan, knowing that they won't be able to cast anything on their turn two. So I had the Metamorphose and Punk of Negation. I was like, okay, let's do this. They went for the cry. I was like happy already. I knew that they had it, but they had Epiphany in their hand, the only one that they usually play. So this was bad. And here was the decision: if I want to make them draw 7 cards, which was already like huge advantage for them, having in mind that they have like the Ursa Tower and the Mine, like giving them another 7 fresh cards would only mean that they don't have maybe the power plant and something else, but didn't want it to take the risk, so I decided to not draw the miracle and do a recross the path pile with let me remember, with Pyromancer Ascension. I was hoping that they on their turn will play the ring, something else. They tapped out, and the only thing that they will do is like be able to take only 1 card. That was made. So I hold myself here. Cast the Strike a Bridge. Cast Reforge, Recross the Path with Manamorphose. Being like a second card that we would draw, so we would draw the Pyromancer Ascension and all the Manamorphoses and all the rest of the Pyromancer Ascension. That was the idea. So you can see Strike a Bridge, Recross the Path. And here we go. Going to see if I'm able to see the sideboards. Okay, in this matchup I didn't bring in any Force of Vigor, which is fine, I think. Not super good against Sean, but Well, it's not fine. I probably should have bring in one. Okay, so in their turn, opponent is thinking a lot, which was already kind of weird because I know that they had the power plant in their hand. Okay, sorry, I have to play this again. So they played the power plants. They started to cycle the first relic. Play another chromatic. They cycle chromatic. They cycle the second one, and they just passed. Okay, and there comes the Boseiju on my treasure token, which is totally wrong. And here I win, basically. I went for the Parliamental Ascension pile, as I said before. Went for all the mana morphos, and it was already a win for me, but I went so deep into the pile that I can't remember when I had my Belcher available, so I went about, I make a lot of mana, and at the moment where I had like enough mana, I decided to cast again the Regress the Path and accelerate the draw of my Belcher because I wasn't sure where it was, but with the EE I was able to, the Engineer Explosive was able to give me the possibility to destroy the Pithing Needle. So yeah, I remember I just went to play everything I had. I think we played also this mode. It was literally not necessary. But yeah, we went for the Balagat loop. Made the mana, we played to Recross the Path. The first one, of course, was necessary to resolve, but it was auto shield, so I put the Belcher again on top. We made sure that we had everything. Cast the Belcher, we activate the Belcher, and we won. So yeah. So last matchup was a lot of brain work. League was really nice. Overall, I think it was a nice diversity of matchup that we had, with some, of course, favorite matchups and others that wasn't like the best one. Did I had luck? Yeah, there was a lot of spots where luck was important, but I tried to play in different spots pretty optimal too. So I think things went pretty well, but also were designed correctly from my thought process. So this is a little bit of what I wanted to share with you today. This was the list that I played during this league. Moving forward, I do think that the white play lines are important. So I would play something more like this. Not sure if I maybe want that and gone more and the mouse out like something more like this. I think Force of Vigor 3 is good. The Veil of Summer are very good too. Moon effects can win, but not always is that the case. So probably like 2 moves is good. And we have the Leyland of Simplicity, which I mean the deck is still like forced to discard. So there are like Thoughtseize again, cards that we want to no. I think that the league that I showed you, in my perspective, showed me that I do want to have Leylands. We went lucky, of course, but we played against Black Scam, which has this card. We played against Living End, which has this card. And Rakdos Inti also had this card. So in this league, particular league, Leylands didn't shine because I didn't have them, but they would have secured in another way or had. Veil is only good if you have a turn timber in your hand. If you have Veil of Summer and the Balaget and you need to like start your turn with Balaget and they on their turn just Thoughtseize you, then your Veil of Summer is useless. And what we want, of course, is to protect our initial hand. We mulligan a lot, and that normally brings your hand size already pretty down. So Leyline is good in this way. That's just my personal take. Perhaps you keep want or you decide to play this in a different way. It's not that you also want to like bring in so many cards because this will dismantle your consistency. So if there's a matchup where you want to, let's say against Amulet Titan, this configuration, you could like bring 4 Magus Moon effects and 4 Force of Vigor. Okay, perfect. What do you take out? Like 8 cards. It's a lot of cards. A lot of cards. It's a lot of things that will hurt yourself to play this. Not saying you can't, but it will impact your consistency as a deck, which this is recommended from my perspective. So I would try to find a way to diversify trimming cards here and have space for one of our MVP cards that always have gave us a lot of wins just because it's there. Burn is not the best matchup either, and it's something that can always shine against them. So that's pretty much my input against for the white ley lines. But yeah, that's the stream that I wanted to do with you today. Now it's particularly different from what I usually play a league, but I think this league that I played yesterday was a pretty nice sample of different matchups, different decisions that I had to take during the whole process, and yeah, that's everything from my side. Um, let's see. The last question is, or would you say Leyline makes us want to more being in the deck? If you bring Leyline in, for sure you're going to move for it in certain matchups. Yes. I mean, it's so free to play Leyline. With with Powder, of course, it's even better because you can like move very aggressively. I personally like the Leylines, and uh, it has been fine. Uh, the argument of it stocks in our late game. Let me say, let me say it like this: Belcher doesn't have a lot of late games. If we are going to turn 7, 8, 9, then and probably something went wrong in turn 1, 2, 3, even 4. So I prefer to have a card that ensures myself to be as much protected as possible. Invader Summon is great, I'm not saying it's not great. But you need to have the open mana open, you need to have the mana open. You can't sacrifice a treasure token to add to green, but then you lose the treasure token, you draw a card of course, but then again, things can go wrong. Reckless handling didn't came up. There was a possibility once to play it, but overall it wasn't like this best card. 5 matches isn't like also the amount of samples that you usually want to have to take a decision if the card was good or not. I will keep on trying it out. The other card that I would like to use again and see if it maybe can be good is March of the Reckless Joy, which is really nice as it draws. But yeah, this is pretty much everything that I want to share with you today. I hope you enjoyed the stream and hope that you can join us the next time when I will be for sure playing some live games. So thank you very much and have a nice morning, day, afternoon, night, wherever you are.